let me set the record straight. Black men being in jail has little to do with the dating options for black women with degrees, especially advanced degrees. It has little to do with your issue. Growing up, there were a lot of programs because, we have a large Mexican population, okay? And in the 90s, the whole gang activity was on the rise. I don't live too far. East LA is very big, okay? So gang activity has always been an issue. And where I live, okay, the drugs coming from Mexico literally pass through my city. Okay, so there's always been, gang issues, especially with Hispanics in Southern California. And oftentimes it doesn't get enough attention. So when the economy wasn't too bad and, the schools could afford to have a whole lot more intervention programs, they would have programs like metal, shop, teaching the kids how to weld, or, maybe wood shop, teaching the kids how to cut wood and do stuff like that. And they had one which was always a favorite. It was, I forgot the course title, but it was pretty much a mechanic shop, right? So the whole point of the class was to put together a car. They had a body shop where you learn how to, use the different tools that you might find in a mechanic's garage. So there were programs geared towards giving potential dropouts and potential gang members. It was an intervention program that was meant to give them tools and skills that they would need, okay, when they wanted to, be part of the working class blue collar, okay? They weren't programs necessarily geared towards taking these at-risk black men and Hispanics and putting them into college, okay, because that wasn't more so realistic, when you factor in just their academic foundation and just the world that they live in. So it was more realistic to say, hey, we're going to give you a trade or a skill that you can use. And like I said before, I grew up in a middle class environment where people were blue collar. So yeah, you made great money. If you knew a skill or a trade, you made great money. If you were a mechanic, you weren't broke, right? So that was the whole push, okay? So keeping those men out of jail, right, didn't mean that they were going to somehow go off and get a master's degree and get a PhD. It meant that they would be solid blue-collar workers, okay, who made a decent living for themselves and had some responsibility. Now, when we talk about incarceration, black men who are incarcerated, and somehow that translating into the lack of options for professional black women, I call bullshit. Okay, because even if we kept these men out of jail, they would be blue collar, okay? Doesn't mean that they're making less money, but they'd have a certain lifestyle. The lifestyle that a lot of the educated black women aren't looking for. Okay, even with the blue collar men out here who are making great money, the quote unquote black women with advanced degrees aren't checking for these men. Right? They're only checking for them, because they may fall into the whole idea of the thug and bad boy. Right? It is what it is. But in terms of, I'm ready to get married, I'm ready to, take part in dominant white America, I'm ready to go to my corporate Christmas party, they're not checking for the blue collar guy. They want, the white collar guy who also has the advanced degree and, who was, the CEO of this and the vice president of that. That's who they're checking for. So even if the men who are incarcerated, even if they stayed out of jail, right, they still wouldn't be in the demographic that the women are looking for. So to me, it makes no sense to always talk about, the men who are incarcerated. Same thing with white men. Let's be real. Okay, do you really think that, keeping a white man out of jail means that that's going to translate into him being a PhD one day? No. Okay, keeping him out of jail, and he'll go off and he'll be a construction worker or, maybe a plumber or some sort of blue-collar job. Okay, so I laugh because once again, it's almost as if black women are convinced to also, throw it out there that they're incarcerated. It's just like, oh, you're about to go on camera. Here's a new special. Don't forget to talk about how your men are incarcerated and how your men are in jail. And the women were like, oh yeah, you're right. And to me, I'm like, it really has nothing to do with your situation. Really, it doesn't. So I just have to put it out there. I want to talk about some other things, but I'm going to do that in a different video. I just wanted to bring that to light. Because I really thought, or still feel, like it's so damaging, and it's so, and my respect level for a lot of y'all go down, because once again, you celebrate how academic you are, how smart you are, right? And I don't understand, part of the whole reason you got into college and you got some sort of advanced degree, or regular your BA or BS, is because what? You can critically think, right? Isn't that the whole point of going to college? Right? Isn't that the whole point of getting a degree? So you can prove to your employers and your colleagues that you can critically think, that you can take a problem and think about all the different components that go into it, right? So you can come up with the right plan of action. Isn't that what we all do? If you reduce college to what you learn, if you reduce college to the number one skill that you're supposed to have, isn't it to be a critical thinker? Right? Isn't it why, people in college, tend to carry this level of superiority, because they feel like they are, more advanced when it comes to critically thinking and problem solving? So why is it that we don't want to use it when it comes to personal matters? Like I said before, you talk to a lot of these women about all sorts of issues, and either they get it, okay, or they don't get it, but for the most part, some will get it, right? And they're able to use critical thinking and think logically. But the second we come to relationships in the black family, the women want to go stupid and start acting dumb and start acting as if critical thinking doesn't play part in what's going on. So y'all really think about it. Even if you remove those men from prison, okay, you gave them the skills, you gave them good jobs, would the women who are talking about not having a man, the professional, advanced degree black women, would they still be checking for those men anyways? No, they wouldn't. So it wouldn't address their issue. And it goes back to the whole idea of the small percentage of black women who have degrees, especially advanced degrees, convincing America that they are the dominant group, when in reality they're not. Yes, these blue-collar black men will do a great job in terms of helping the black community, right? Because they would have, other women who, may be attracted to the whole blue-collar, and they match up in terms of lifestyle. They would do a great service to a lot of black women. They would help out the majority of black women, right? If they stayed out of jail and they got these sort of blue-collar jobs and, they knew a trade, it would help out the black community significantly. Fathers would be at home. The boys and the girls wouldn't be, so easily a victim of gang violence or, teenage pregnancy. It would do a great deal for the black community. But in regards to the small percentage of black women who have the degrees and who have the advanced degrees and who are off in corporate America, okay, it has nothing to do with you. And when you look at the specials, they're not advocating for all the black womanhood. And this is what I try to tell black women for the longest. They're not worrying about you. They're worrying about themselves. Let a non-advanced degree or, a non-BA or BS black woman who may have an AA or just a high school diploma get a black man who's well-to-do, and that group of women will still be mad. They will still be upset. They're not going to clap hands and say, oh, he's with a black girl. She's not part of the whole educated Angela Burt Murray type of black woman. So they're not advocating for you. So you guys take it easy. Tell me how you feel. God bless.